Everyone in a few minutes, in like 2 minutes. Oh. It's like there's like a 7-minute discrepancy. I'm admitting everyone in.
Good evening.
Evening.
Hello.
Hello.
Everybody. Hi, Crystal. Ready to go? Okay. 7 o'clock. Everybody state your name. Lee Wessler's here
Jean Pillow is here.
with his Billy's
Laura
hat.
Bill Adams is here.
Pamela Spaeth is here.
Stan Barkoviak is here.
Laurie Barefoot's here.
Hey, is that all I wasn't following. Is that all our members who chimed in?
Is
Demora.
Grace-
I said Mara Roby.
Okay, I didn't hear you.
Is Grace here?
Not yet,
Oh. Okay.
but this is being recorded, so.
Yes. Okay, no alternates to seat. Anyone look at the minutes and is there a motion to approve?
I looked at the minutes and I had a lot to say, but I didn't see my name in the attendance.
You were there.
Apparently I was there.
Well, you were there, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my name wasn't included in the attendance.
Okay, then, let's table it until Grace gets here, because she'll need to, fix things. Okay, so move on to public participation. I see Adam from Eversource is here. Who else from Eversource? It's here.
I'm here as well, Stan Barkoviak.
Dan, okay. And I see a CJ Kai.
Correct. Yeah, I'm Charles Kaiser, resident of Woodstock, attending the meeting.
Okay, welcome. And our faux member, Roy's here. Ray's here. I mean, Ray and Pam.
Good evening. How you doing? Yes.
Can I put you, so I'll see you as a alternate there, Ray?
Oh, we just keeping the pulse on it. Thank you.
Okay. And there's an Emma Massey.
I'm just sitting in for a school project because we're supposed to like go to a meeting.
Okay,
Oh, well,
welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. And Jason showed up, so we got Jason here.
Hello.
So we got a nice full house. Okay, so traditionally we let the outside public who are here, not have to wait for the rest of our agenda, so we can move right to the Eversource project. And who's is somebody a designated spokesperson for you guys, or?
Yeah, I can answer some questions for you guys.
Yeah, so if you could start by just giving us an update on where we stand, and then we can shoot you our questions.
Yeah, of course. And forgive me if my voice is a little bit off. I've been sick all this past week. So on the Childs Road segment, we are 100% complete. That includes plantings and tree work. I know there was an indication in the notes you guys were also looking for tree warden participation. Tree warden was fully involved in the Childs Road project. On Route 171, we are nearing completion. I believe there are a couple replantings that are needed. And the tree warden was not involved in Route 171 because it's a state project. So we deal directly with the state DOT landscape architect. And on Brickyard Road, which is one that very short segment that's about to launch, we have not started. And Adam can interrupt me if I'm incorrect on that. But that's one that would be a very quick project.
Stan, that one is actually pretty much complete. There's just one planting that has to be done there.
My apologies, Lee. That is complete as well, almost. But that's all the updates I believe that we have for Woodstock as far as the major projects we're doing in town.
This
Okay,
is,
thanks.
I have a quick question. I don't remember hearing there was going to be any work done on Brickyard Road. Am I the only one that is surprised by any mention of this?
Yeah, particularly since I live on Brickyard Road, I would recall.
Yeah,
And
so
we got
Stan,
maps.
I don't think you provided it. I don't think on the map you gave us, it included Brickyard Road.
I was not here for the last meeting. I know the tree warden was made aware of it. Throughout the year, plans do change. And plans are added, roads are added, depending on the town and the need for resiliency and reliability. But I wasn't at the last meeting to see what they had presented to you guys.
Yeah, well, the last meeting was what, like last year or earlier this year.
Okay.
So that's one. Okay, that's an update for us. Is the tree wardens? He knows about it. It's been made aware.
Yep. So all tree work that we do on the public right of way goes directly through the tree warden. So anytime we have any project on the public right of way, we always let them know. If it's trees that are specific to the public, the tree warden always weighs a decision on them. So he was made well aware of the project.
So Stan,
And as far as the, sorry, hang on, Jason. So as far as the trees that were planted, the one on Child Hill Road was run through the tree warden. But so that's question one. And then question two is who in the state is deciding what trees are planted there?
So on Child's Hill or Child's Road, the tree warden weighs in on all decisions on tree removals, and typically replantings are typically decided on by the property owners themselves, because the tree warden weighs in on the decision on removal on the public right of way, and then the property owner decides whether or not they'd like a tree replacement as we remove the trees. The tree warden typically doesn't weigh in on those unless it is solely a town-owned property. For the state, Adam would have to give you the name of the DOT landscape architect we typically deal with in the northeast corner up there. Adam, do you have his name off the top of your head? Is it Nick? It's not Nick Sapina.
It's not Nick, and I'm drawing a blank off the top of my head. Oh, I'm gonna find that really quick.
Okay. Yeah. So basically in Connecticut, there's 5 divisions that each they have an individual landscape architect over each of them. Nick Sapina, I believe, central. I'm drawing a blank too on the northeast corner, but Adam's looking them up right now, just so you have that information.
Okay, Jason, you're.
yeah. So thank you, Lee. I appreciate it. So a number of trees that were cut down on Child Road are on the shoulder or actually on town property on the I would like to say I know the name of the legal term, but the little strip of property between the street and the private property. That's town property. So who have you contacted at the town for the town's replacement trees?
Yeah, so that's a good question, Jason. So the property itself is actually owned by the property owner. The strip of land in between is what's known as the public right of way. So the tree warden has jurisdiction over trees that are removed or any tree that can impact the public right of way or public safety. But the property owner themselves actually owns the property. That right of way isn't actually owned by the town. But all decisions on tree removals in that town public right of way go directly through the tree warden.
So, okay, so the property owner owns outside of their legal property boundaries up to the road, is that what you're saying?
So
So
the
if there's a-
property owner owns up to the road
No.
itself. Typically, it depends on how the town has drawn up the property boundaries. But the town owns what's known as the public right of way, which is essentially like an easement on the edge of the property. And they don't necessarily own it, but they oversee things that
Okay,
occur
so
in that
well,
easement.
I guess that's splitting hairs. So the question is, so the tree warden is responsible for the removal. Who have you contacted for replacement? No, not responsible for, but speaks to or approves. Who have you spoken to regarding replacement of trees on the right of way?
So like I mentioned, for all the removals, we deal with the tree warden. For replacements, we deal directly with the property owner at each location.
Okay, so I think that's an open question, and maybe I'm wrong, but and I'm just going to speak from my own experience. I have a pin that shows the front of my property, and then probably 15 more feet between the front of my property and the street. And I've never been led to understand that 15 feet between my property line and the street is also my property.
It's not.
So every property is going to be a little bit different.
Hang
your
on for a
property
sec.
boundaries may-
Grace, could you mute yourself? Because we're kind of hearing you there. So I'm sorry.
Okay,
Go ahead, Stan.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Stan.
Okay, every property can be a little bit different, but typically on most properties, they own up into the road's edge. And the road's edge isn't always just the road itself, right? So the town could own property that is on the shoulder. And that's gonna be the designated of the road itself, right? So each road, let's say the road is 50 feet wide, but the actual paved portion of the road is only 20 feet wide. The town would still have about 15 feet on each side, depending on where the road went through that property.
And now you reached
But
my question, which is in that space, which we're going to find, even if we haven't reached that issue yet on Shell Road, which I think we have. But even if we haven't, when you are cutting trees in that space, who are you going to contact for replacement trees in that space, which is not owned by the property?
everything goes to the tree warden.
So is the tree warden aware that he's supposed to be picking replacement trees?
Only if there's a need for replacement. Typically on volunteer trees, so those trees that were pieces of brush that had grown up roadside, that's typically not something that we would replant for.
So every property owner has a right to select replacement trees. Do you feel that the town as a property owner also has a right to select replacement trees, or the town does not also have that right?
It's depending on the tree, right? So if it's a volunteer tree, one that was just a piece of brush that had grown up roadside, that's not one that we would typically replace for. But if it's a tree that somebody has in their front yard, that's a species that was planted by them, that's usually one that we would negotiate with the property owner to replant for. So on town property where you guys have planted trees or you have specimen trees, that's always something that we would try to replant for and work with the tree warden or do.
So we could direct the tree warden and say, provide a guideline and say a tree that's healthy over a certain size or a certain species or whatever it is, and not this board because we don't have regulatory authority, but the town could contact the tree warden and create a set of rules and at some point say the town expects a replacement tree for every tree that cut that meets this certain criteria on town property. Is that fair to say?
Well, I mean, the town could contact the tree warden. That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
So,
And
so
the
Sam,
tree warden is a representative of the town.
so Stan, getting back to Child Road, the trees that were removed toward the top on the town shoulder, are they being replaced?
Currently, no.
Do you plan to replace them?
There was no request for replacement.
Well, who did you ask, yes or no?
The tree warden.
So you contacted the tree warden and asked him, do you want a replacement? And he said no.
Well, typically we contact the tree warden asking for tree removals. Same thing with property owners. If he comes back and says, we would love to have you remove this tree, if you offer replacement, then we offer replacement in that case.
So
It's up to the tree warden the same way that it's up to the property owner.
well, the last meeting we had with the tree warden here, we were told the tree would be automatically replaced.
See, I
So,
was not here for this last meeting. And like I said, as far as I'm aware, the project's complete and all the trees have been replaced. Now, if there's something with the tree warden himself where he's requested that, that's something we have to talk to them about.
okay, well, I think that's something we'll contact the tree warden. Because for what we were told, every tree you remove from the shoulder that was approved by the tree warden, the next step was to replace it. And we had a sheet with, trees we could pick. But that
Okay,
was
so-
his understanding and that was our understanding.
So like I said, I was not at this last meeting, so I'm speaking on generalities, what typically happens. Now, if the tree warden didn't make that agreement with the arborist who was overseeing the project, that's something that we would still uphold. And like I said, I was not aware of that.
Well,
There's
so
another
the-
piece here too to this, and that's
Well,
that
no,
you just.
hang on for a
big-
second. Lori,
Oh,
hang on for
yeah,
a second.
sure.
So, so our agreement is not with Eversource. Our agreement is with whoever is representing Eversource at the time we talked to Eversource. So everything we talked
that's-
about last meeting, you're not aware of, and we're kind of starting anew? Or did somebody
No.
write down anything?
Yes, like I said, I am a supervisor over Central and Eastern. I was not at the last meeting. I wasn't supervising this project. I'm on this meeting because it was asked to have a representative on the meeting, and the person who attended the last meeting was not available.
Right, so I'm trying to understand the ground rules. So everything that went on from the previous meeting, you're not aware of, and we're kind of starting from scratch.
No, any agreement with the tree warden and the arborist who oversaw the project still stands. I'm just telling you what I am currently aware of.
Okay. Okay, well, I mean, the agreement was trees would be replaced. That was,
If that was the agreement, that's what still stands.
okay. So we
Like I
need the
said,
tree warden to contact you.
Yeah, the tree or Adam D'Agostino, who's the arborist for the area, he was not overseeing this project though on Child Road. He will contact the tree warden tomorrow, and we'll see what the actual agreement was for the trees on the shoulder there.
Okay, Lori, go ahead.
Yeah, you mentioned something about that it's only specimen trees that are being replaced. That is not what we are given to understand. We were told by Eversource that any of the trees, not just specimen trees, not something that a homeowner would have just planted, but any trees that were there are trees that could be replaced.
So any tree could be replaced, and forgive me if I misspoke, but my main point was that volunteer trees are trees that we typically don't replace, right? So volunteer
What
trees.
is a volunteer tree?
So volunteer trees are those that were not planted, or trees that are just pieces of brush roadside, right? So typically like Ailanthus, white birch, that might be an opportunistic tree that grew up roadside. Essentially like a weed species, as I would describe them. They're volunteer themselves in places where they typically would not be planted.
Mm-hmm. So are you making, just a question, are you making it clear to homeowners that it's not a matter of replacing every tree, that you're deciding, if I'm understanding correctly, you're deciding which trees are worthy of replacing, you're deciding which trees are weed trees. I, for example, have a lot of white birch, and yet they're definitely, if there's one, there's 1,000. However, if you cut them all down, I would absolutely want something replaced because they're still serving as a cover. So what I'm asking is, are you restricting homeowners to which of their trees they could be replaced?
No, not at all. And so, like I said, those are specifically like those roadside trees that nobody has taken care of, that grew up as a piece of brush that was not planted, not seen as a screen or anything else. It's
Yeah.
those trees that typically we would call brush. Now, if we go to a property and we say we'd like to remove these, these 10 birch trees that are growing to the primary conductors or the wires that are roadside, and they said, well, hey, it's okay if you remove those, but we would like a replacement on those. That's where we have discussions with the property owner to see what they would need in order to remove these trees from growing into the wires and improving reliability.
Dan, is it a 1-to-1 ratio? So let's say there's a, I don't know, like 80-foot oak tree that you want to take down. And I'm gonna make a guesstimate here because most of the people on this call are a lot more knowledgeable in this area. But if you're going to take down that 80-foot oak tree and then you offer me, I don't know, sassafras or some smaller tree, but the water uptake capability of that smaller tree is 1/10 of what the other tree is that you cut down. Do I get 10 smaller trees for my one tree that you cut? What's the calculus?
No, so typically we would not offer 10-to-1 replacements. If we're looking to remove a tree, we give the property owner the choice of allowing us to remove it and whether they would like a replacement tree. And that's where discussions with each individual property owner come up. But no, we do not offer, for example, like a 10-to-1 replacement on these trees. And
Is
again,
it a
every
straight
single
1-to-1
property owner
or
has
is
the
there-
right to refuse the removal of any tree on their property.
Right. Well, I'm just trying to think of for the people that accept. So is it a straight 1-to-1, or can someone come in and say, hey, listen, I want 2 for 1. This is a really big tree and you're going to give me a seedling. I want 2 of them. Is that a fair thing for a homeowner to ask, or is it just a hard rule? It's 1-to-1, take it or leave it?
No, so we're always open to discussions with property owners. I don't say that there's any hard rule necessarily. Typically, most property owners, if we take a tree, they usually require us to replant a tree if that's their decision, right? But like I said, property owners have the right to refuse that tree if they don't want the tree removed. But no, I've never heard anybody doing like a 10-to-1 or a 2-to-1 replacement. A lot of cases it is 1-to-1 replacement scenarios.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I just want to make sure that because we're going to communicate with people in the town, we want to make sure that they know what their options are and what they're being offered.
Oh, of course. Like I said, every situation is different. Every negotiation different. Every tree itself that we're seeking to remove is also different.
Could I ask a couple of questions?
Yes.
The 3 projects that you discussed, those were all part of the resiliency project, correct?
Those all 3 are resiliency type projects. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And they're basically almost all entirely done. You mentioned just a couple of small things that you had left to do. Is that correct?
Yeah. So Childs Road is done. Brickyard Road is nearing or basically done. There's a couple of things that have to do in a replanting there as well. And Route 171 is nearing completion.
Okay. So with that in mind, would you have you followed up with each of the homeowners, and are they all satisfied with their replacement trees and also with the removal of all of the logs?
So we typically don't follow up with every single property owner if they're satisfied with their tree, but if any property owner does have a complaint, they can always either call in the customer service or email us directly, which is on the brochure itself. As far as logs are concerned, I have not had any complaints on logs on Route 171, Childs Road, or Brickyard that I'm aware of. Now,
well, they're all over.
Let him answer, Larry.
Yeah.
Now, some of our tickets do go to our work planners. Some of them do go to customer ticket representatives. I might not have seen the ticket myself, but I have not been made aware of any complaints as of yet. Now, on Route 171, there may still be logs remaining. And as it's nearing completion, we'll be picking up those logs. Or if the state decided they would be picking up those logs, that might be the case as well. Adam, do you have more information on Route 171 as far as log pickup goes, or have you heard of any complaints that I'm not aware of?
May
have
I
not.
speak about 171? I don't travel the whole length of 171 routinely, but I do travel it frequently between Rocky Hill Road and the traffic light. And I'm really disturbed by the amount of clear cutting along Millbrook and Taylor Brook that has occurred. And what is the replacement tree plan for that? Because these are not people's landscape lawns. These are just wooded parts of people's properties that are in the right of way. But Taylor Brook, which is a cold water stream, very good trout habitat. There's on both sides of Taylor Brook, on the north side of 171, the trees have been cleared out for a good 15 feet on both sides, exposing the stream to sunlight, and logs are just strewn all over the place. Further down towards East Fawcett Road, where Millbrook comes almost right up to the road, the entire bank of the river on the south side of 171 has been denuded of all the trees except for one row right along the river. What is the plan to replant trees there? These are critical trout habitat. It's a water supply for drinking water for the town of Putnam. We cannot have riparian vegetation removed and not replaced. How are you going to keep the erosion from occurring?
So Route 171 was done in coordination with the state. As far as I'm aware, there's not a replanting plan, but I'd have to follow up on that for you.
So it sounds like, Gene, maybe that's a question to send to Deep.
Is
Right.
the question for who?
For Deep.
No, that wouldn't be deep. It would be DOT.
Okay.
It would be DOT. There's a this really steep slope that has volunteered trees on it that's not too far away from that whole area. And those volunteer trees do go up into the power lines. They're oak trees. And that whole slope, which is probably a 40% slope, I mean, it's a really steep slope, completely clear cut of all vegetation. Will that be grassed? Will something be put there to keep that soil in place?
Like I said, as of now, I'm not aware of any plan. It was done in coordination with the state. I'd have to follow up with you on that.
Thank you.
What's the
And as a
email
follow-up-
address? Oh, sorry, Mara. What?
No, I just was gonna say, as a
Hey.
follow-up to that, we were actually told that Eversource was going to be use best management practices around wetlands and any kind of waterways. We were assured that they would be looking at, making sure that they didn't do things like this. So it's very disappointing to see.
Like I said, I'll have to follow up on it for you. As far as best management practices go, within the public, or not the public right way, within roadways themselves, we do use environmental specialists within the company to determine whether or not a project does have any impact on wetlands themselves. And like I said, I've not been made aware of any issues in that area. But like I said, I'll have to follow up with you, Mara. And
I would
Jean.
greatly appreciate follow-up by our next meeting.
Yeah,
Right.
and Stan, what's either your email, just so that we can reach out proactively, or the email for private? But you said that you haven't had any complaints about wood or anything, but what if someone wanted to? Is there like a ticket email or like a customer service email that they should be
Yeah,
using?
there sure is. So for customer tree tickets, it's clptree@eversource.com. And actually on every single brochure that we hand out, that email is directly on there as well. And then my email, if you guys, you're always more than welcome to contact me directly. It's Stanley, Ley, .Bartkowiak, which is my last name on the screen there, at eversource.com.
Great.
Any other questions for Eversource?
What is
So-
the expected anticipated time for Route 169 tree work to be done?
Route 171,
169.
Route 169. Adam,
Going south
that-
towards Pomfret, I believe, was where you were targeted on the original map we saw.
Stan, that's a project that Sabrina was overseeing.
I'll have to follow up with you on that, Gene.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I apologize for not having that information ready for you. Route 169 towards Pomfret.
National Scenic Byway, Route 169. You can understand why we have concerns about tree cutting along the National Scenic Byway.
No, I can understand. That's why we worked in coordination with the state as well on that project. I believe there was a lot, I remember there was a lot of input from your guys' commission on that project as well. So I'll follow up as soon as I can on that, Gene.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions? So we'll, we'll look for, thank you, Stan, for coming and answering our questions. So you'll let us know about the riparian buffers on 171, how we can deal with that, because we want to avoid runoff into our streams, to keep them clean. The 169, and then I'll let our forestry guy know that he can expect to hear from you guys tomorrow. Is that all correct?
The tree warden?
Tree warden, yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. Adam will reach out to him tomorrow to see what the situation is there on Childs Road. I'll follow up on 171 and 169 for you guys. And it was my pleasure. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, always feel free to reach out. And I do apologize for not having more answers for you. Like I said, I don't have all the answers, but the ones that I don't have, I'll try to get for you.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
very welcome.
Much appreciated.
Yep. You guys have a great night.
Thanks, you too.
You.
Okay, so back to the agenda. Grace, Jean had some comments on the, Jordan's here, number
Okay.
one. So Jean, what did you have to ask Grace about the agenda there?
The
So-
agenda or last month's meeting minutes.
I'm sorry, the last month's meeting. Yeah. last
Well,
month's-
it's just that that Jean said this, and Jean said that, and then I looked at the attendance and Jean wasn't there according to the attendance. So I just would like to have that corrected.
Fine.
Okay, any other comments, or is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes as we noted need to be amended.
Is there a second?
I'll second. Pam Spaeth.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Okay. Moving on to treasurer's report.
Okay, well, in our budget, any of the purchases that went through just recently were not showing up as yet. So it's basically exactly the same as we had last month, which is 1914 in the budget and 246122 in the special account. I have submitted Jean's invoices. They will be processed. I did get in there today and was talking to the Kakiwick. I did resend the registration. If anybody wants to go, please let me know. Again, what I typically do is I pay for it myself. And then when you get the receipt in the mail, get the copy to me and I will get it into the treasurer's office.
Grace, I need to make a correction. Was going to make a motion that the town approve, or the Conservation Commission approve the purchase of the plants that are already in the ground over at the Grange, but the town is getting billed for that. I will not be getting reimbursed for that. Sprucedale Gardens is billing the town of Woodstock,
Um,
and I just
I
wanted
don't
it
know
out
about
of the
that.
special account.
Well, I just sent over it. Did you send me a copy, I guess, of the receipt?
I sent you a copy of the receipt and I told you that Sprucedale Gardens will be billing the town for those plants. And that
Okay, I
it will
got it.
come
I
out of
got
the
it.
special account.
Yeah, all right. Well, at any rate, as they say, I got in there today and I signed off on it. So I'll have to try and go back in there and talk to her again and tell her that the Sprucedale's gonna bill them directly. My issue was that Kakiwick the dues have not been paid for Kakiwick. And that's traditionally done with we split it between us and inland wetlands. And Karen Fitzpatrick at the treasurer's office did send them a note asking if they would approve it. So I'm waiting on that also, but I will check with that.
Yeah, there's been some staff turnover in the building office and
You
I
think?
don't
Yeah,
know.
never mind. But it's in process, so.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that the commission approve the expense of $268 for shrubs that were planted at the Grange yesterday, so that when that bill comes in, it's officially approved by the commission. It was the $300 that was donated for the purchase of plants, and I purchased the plants with it, but I think we still need to go through some kind of a vote to approve it.
Did the money go to our special fund or just go to our
Yes.
regular?
It was
The
put in
special
a
fund.
special fund.
Okay.
So I make a motion that we approve $268 from our special fund that was derived from donations, is paid to Sprucedale Gardens for the plants that were purchased.
Okay, any further discussion on that? Is there
They
a
need-
second? Is there a second?
I'll second Maura.
Okay, now any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? So that passes.
Okay.
Any more questions for the treasurer? Okay, moving on to anything communications wise.
No, all we got was a copy of Connecticut Land Conservation Council updates and highlights.
I got I guess we missed chairperson's report. So this will roll into there.
Oh,
I met
okay.
with, I met with Ken Woes Legal, and then he sent me an email. And he was wondering if we would be interested in hearing his beta 2 presentation version. And if we could invite other commissions from the Windham County area. Is anyone, you guys interested in hearing his updated version?
Yes,
Okay.
Is
Anyone?
there still a Windham County Conservation Consortium? That fell apart.
Nah, Nah, it died with the
I was
COVID,
gonna say.
yeah. But I still have, they may be new who knows if they're still the chairpersons, but if I'll ask Ken about a date, and if we pick a date, then I'll email the other commissions and invite them. But everybody's cool with that?
Well, we're the
Sure.
ones that asked him
Yep.
to redo it, so we should probably critique it. I didn't see the original presentation.
It
So,
was rather grim.
yes. Will this be via Zoom?
No,
Was it
we
live?
did it in person. We'll have to,
Okay.
yeah, we did it in one of the rooms, the big room.
Yeah,
He said he didn't want to do it by Zoom because he was concerned about some copyright things.
Okay,
Yeah, and he has a PowerPoint presentation and there's music in the background, and he wants to get practice presenting in front of people. Okay, so I'll get back to him. Any other communications?
Nope.
Okay, old business, Jean, DRC.
I have no report.
Okay, Crystal, open space.
Open space did not meet this month.
Okay. P and Z, I didn't see anything germane to us. Jean, anything you
Not that
saw?
I've seen. They're just tidying up some stuff.
Cannabis.
yeah.
Any word on stewardship?
You missed
Okay.
Ag Commission.
Oh, yep. I'm picking my own order, Grace. That's
Yeah,
the
sure.
chairperson's prerogative.
No, there was nothing that concerned us anyway, so it's okay.
Okay. Ag Commission, nothing. Stewardship, nothing.
Well,
Jean
can I
Pollinator-
just,
Oh,
can I just go
sorry,
back?
Maura.
Well, no, I don't, I'm just, as far as where that's at, Grace, were you able to open the thing that I sent you? Because I was trying to pass along information. And I think,
Yes.
okay, I just want, and then I think, somebody else was volunteered as well. Jim, okay.
Mhm. Which is he here? I was not here.
No, I guess not.
Okay.
Okay, pollinator pathway, Jean.
Okay, well, the big event was actually planting the Memorial Pollinator Pathway Garden at Synecdoche Grange. Thank you, Lori, and Lori's partner, Steve, Grace, and Lisa Davidson, who showed up to help the planting. We were able to plant 7 shrubs. Wait, 9 shrubs, because we had 2 more donations made of plants. So we had 9 shrubs in total that were planted. And then Echo Farm had leftover perennials and they donated them for the project as well. So the garden officially is in the ground. Steve was going to go back and do some raking and get the ground more level before wood chips arrive this week, but the garden will be mulched this week, and the dedication ceremony has been announced for next Saturday, August 28th at 1 p.m. And I'm hoping the members of the Conservation Commission will be there. I plan to ask Jay Swan to be there if he can. And the family members that are being remembered are obviously important to be there as well. I don't see this being a really long ceremony, but maybe a half hour total. I will put up a pollinator pathway sign to show that it's on the pollinator pathway. But we have Lillian Hopkins, in memory of her sister Ann Wolczewski. Of course, we're honoring Mandy Weinberg and Jeremy Barefoot, children of Grace and Lori. Lynn Harrington and her sister Lori Gosling gave a plant in honor of, I can't read my handwriting, Ellen somebody, and Lori and Dave Goslin gave a plant in memory of Lee Goslin. Karen McFarland in memory of her mother, Mary Larson Senni. And so it was, those are the people we're going to be calling out at this meeting. So I'll talk about how we did this. Anybody else want to be there? Lee, do you want to do any opening or speech at this thing? Chair?
It's this Saturday?
This Saturday at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm at a karate I'm participating in a karate tournament.
You are. All right. Don't mess
Yeah,
with me. I have to say, Amy Monahan at the Grange is a powerhouse. She was very excited to get this project, the Grange selected for this project. And I asked her to please loosen the soil because it's at the edge of a parking lot and is a place where cars have compacted the soil and it's a lot of fill in that area. And in the rain on Saturday, she was able to get a backhoe dropped off and she was loosening up the soil as best she could, although it was very wet soil at the time. So, I mean, she's been a partner with this all along too. So I'm happy that we're getting close to the point where I can add this to our pollinator pathway map as a completed project.
Congrats. Any questions for Jean? Hey, Crystal, Sustainable Connecticut.
Don't have
Jordan
an
has
update.
something to say on the last thing, it looked like.
Oh, sorry, Jason. Did you have something to say?
So Jordan,
Oh, Jordan. Okay.
Hey, Gene, you never answered when when you're gonna do that planting. I think Grace asked you when the planting was gonna happen. You never answered her.
Yeah, we did it
we
yesterday.
did it
or
yesterday.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but you never answered her when it was gonna be, because I couldn't come. Yeah, I could have come.
Maura very graciously made a flyer, which I did distribute through email to every member of the Conservation Commission, as far as I know.
Must have missed it, sorry.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see it either.
I didn't see it.
No, you didn't have to. My apologies.
Sure, you just didn't want to dig. I know that.
Okay, so Crystal, you said the Sustainable Connecticut, nothing new. We talked about the Senexit Grange and we talked about Eversource. So we're on to new business. Any workshops coming up? Well, we know Kakiwick. Anyone else aware of any workshops or did anyone attend any workshops?
Geez, I don't have the date. There's going to be a workshop at NECOG, and I believe it's going to be focused on the updated stormwater quality manual and the updated erosion and sediment control guidelines. And I don't have the date.
Is that the protecting drinking water sources?
No, that's another one.
Okay.
That one is Crystal, I really would like to see the open space group attend that if they can, because it's a new mapping tool for scoring open space properties for the open space grant the state runs. So that one's coming up too. I apologize, I don't have these dates. Let me see if I could pull it up on Facebook.
Well, the one you just mentioned is Thursday, November 2nd, 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. And it's a webinar.
Oh, okay. Okay. So if you go to NECOG, you can look this up.
I'm looking. That was Nemo. That was in September. I must not have had put it on here. I'll have to send you some dates. I'll send them out. You don't have to respond.
All right.
There is also the statewide comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, which identifies outdoor recreation issues of statewide significance and evaluates the supply of and demand for outdoor recreation resources and facilities. The SCORP provides unified guidance to state and municipal officials as they develop and expand outdoor recreation opportunities. So they're having a meeting, I think, to get input. The plan is going to be available for review. I'm looking that one up. I'll look up SCORP to find out that, because outdoor recreation is a big deal. I believe they're also going to be updating the I don't have the information in front of me, I'm sorry. But yes, the new stormwater manual and sediment erosion control guidelines have been approved, and they're going to go in effect in 2024. And what's nice about those new guidebooks is that low impact development and green infrastructure are the focus of how they want this work done now. It's no longer an appendix as an add-on. So there hopefully will be more focus on preventing runoff rather than dealing with it later in the future. These books, they're only online. And I think one of them is like 500 pages and the other one's 400 pages, and there's hyperlinks in them. So you can get lost in them for like weeks at a time if you had the time to do it. But it's about time we have this update. It's way overdue.
Okay, any other upcoming or recently attended workshops? If not, oh, sorry, Crystal. Go ahead.
I attended the Farmland Trust workshop in Vermont the other week
Ooh.
with
Oh, yeah.
with Rebecca Hyde. That
With
was
Rebecca. Yeah.
that was a fantastic workshop. It was focused on healthy soils, specifically regarding agricultural healthy soils, and they discussed what components make up healthy soils, how to test for healthy soils, different ways to improve soil health, putting soil health into easements for conservation. We went out to 2 different farms, one in Vermont and one in New Hampshire. The one in Vermont was a vegetable cooperative, and we got to go out in the field and assess soil health and observe and put into practice what we were learning. And then we went across the river to New Hampshire to a livestock farm with mostly dairy and beef cattle, and again got to go look and see what they did and how they managed their land. And every organization that went, we were given a soil penetrometer. So Rebecca has that, and that's something that one of the tools to use to assess the health of the soil. And it was really fascinating. There was a lot of different groups from across New England, and then New York and Pennsylvania as well. So it was a fabulous experience, and we're looking forward to they just sent out the slides of the PowerPoint presentation, so I'm looking forward to digging into those a little bit and maybe checking with Ag Commission, maybe Conservation Commission, to see if you want me to put any of those up on the town website on the Ag and Conservation pages.
Wow, that's awesome. They gave you a
Yeah.
penetrometer. Wow.
Yeah, they did. It was fabulous. I mean, even they had some guy talk about the economics of soil health, which I am not interested in economics, but he made it interesting. It was really a fabulous workshop, and I'm really glad for the opportunity to go. We learned a lot, and we're looking forward to, bringing that information back to our local community.
Cool. Yeah, I
Cool.
got to use a penetrometer, and it's amazing the difference between how a penetrometer, it measures the pressure, downward pressure you're putting to get this thing to sink down as deep as you can get it to go in the soil. And you can go some places, you can go really deep down without any effort, and there's other places you hit hard pan and you just stop, and it's very.
Yeah,
it's
so this one, you go
educational.
down first 6 inches and then you go down to 18 inches. And it's important to check the pounds per square inch because, most plants aren't going to grow if your soil if the pressure is harder or greater than 300 pounds per square inch. So that's one of the important things to look at regarding, your soil and your land.
Nice.
That's going to be a great tool, especially when you're working probably more with the, not the big dairy farms because they're all on board with the soil health, but some of the smaller farms, maybe some of the grazing farms, beef farms, where they don't think about soil health as the same, but it's critically important for them too. If you have animals always standing in the same place, the soil gets really compacted, and that leads to runoff. That's cool.
They took they had like a visual demonstration where they had a handful of soil that was from a piece of land that had been tilled, with traditional farming techniques for years. And they took a handful of that and put it into like a tall cylinder of water with over a net. And then they took a handful of soil from one of the farms that we went to that had very good healthy soils with a lot of biomass and a lot of aggregate. And for the most part, that clump of soil stayed together, suspended in the water, whereas the other one just dissolved completely. The water turned brown. So that was really neat to see. They said that some of the very healthy soils could hold up to 10 inches of water. If you had a very devastating amount of rain, a lot of rain in a short period, that the healthy soil could actually take in and retain and keep that water, whereas your unhealthy soils, it's just going to flood or run off, and then you're going to lose the minerals. And it was really interesting.
Good. Anyone, any other conferences? So move to open discussion. Lori,
I don't have anything to add.
Mara,
Yeah, so I am kind of doing a project and I wanted to see if it can get added to the agenda for November. And it's about dirt road, stormwater runoff, best management practices and maintenance. Because our road is a dirt road that I live on, Sherman Road, and also Taylor Road. There's been some issues that with stormwater runoff being directed into vernal pool areas, and so sediment from the road is getting in there and then into other wetlands too, that delineated wetlands. So I actually reached out to Dan Malo. He's the part-time wetlands agent, and I sent pictures of this sediment runoff, and I suggested possibly a joint effort with the Conservation Commission and them to try to address these issues. And he thought that made sense, and he was going to add it to their agenda. So I'm going to try to attend either a November or December meeting. And so I actually talked with a couple of the highway department guys when they were trying to fix Sherman Road at one point. And so I just, asked them about if they were willing to attend training, just to see if that would be, they're interested in a solution because they do feel like what they're doing is like Band-Aids, and they're not really, they just keep coming and dumping more dirt in the gullies that have formed. And I know that they, they trench out because they need it to go somewhere. And so that's where they're trenching the water right directly into some of these sensitive wetlands. And I just, as far as education about, like, could we change where, that runoff is going and stuff like that. So they were really nice, and they seemed really open. And so, yeah, if anyone wants to help with this as well, I need to do research on best management practices for dirt roads because I am not necessarily familiar with that. So if anyone wants to help with that, or, I was thinking of, seeing if other towns or states have good ways of dealing with this. Yeah,
I have
because when
some guidance books from other states.
yeah, I thought you had mentioned this before, Jean, and yeah, it's something, and as rain events get worse and worse, this is, and honestly, they just, they feel like the next solution that they know of would be to pave these roads. And I think that I'd like to come up with something else, as far as trying to deal with the runoff and the gullies. Actually, Sherman Road, oh my God, we had like foot deep gullies. And luckily it's not a well-traveled road because, I mean, people, their car would be damaged. I could go a different way because the dirt road ends right in front of my house, so I can actually go on the paved part. Anyway, it's something that I've been, sort of noticing for a while and just really want to do something about.
It sounds
Yeah,
like a great project.
I've tried to reach out to John Navarro on numerous occasions. And I just actually was talking about this Saturday morning at the Grange. They had a Meet the Candidates event, and his name escapes me, but he's now the chair of planning and zoning because Jeff stepped down. And he said he was really thinking about what I said with the Center Cemetery Road project, because that was one where John says, let's pave it. We won't have any more problems. And there were serious issues on Center Cemetery Road where the water is just going down the sides of the road. And there was a big gully forming at the entrance to the cemetery, and the hearses couldn't get in because they couldn't get through. And so they just said, we have to fix this. It's for the hearses and stuff. So I think they're going to pave that part, but there's other parts of the road they didn't need to pave. And he said, yeah, I really hear that. He heard what I said. So I think that that's a positive sign. And when I said that, I every time I bring it up with John, he just doesn't get back to me. And I've had offers to bring in demonstration material for different products, and he just doesn't reply. So
well, that's why I thought maybe if I tried to go the route of us working with the wetlands, because really, this is about it's as far as the two roads I'm talking about, it's the water quality, it's sediment getting into filling in vernal pools, and that's not okay for the Wetlands Commission, and they weren't aware of it, I'm sure.
planning and zoning should also be included in this because they have authority over what kind of maintenance could be done on unpaved roads. So,
all right.
and I think there's an opportunity now because of if you were willing to put something together, I'll 100% support you on this. It's been an issue that I've been dealing with for years. There's such simple things they could do that would reduce some of the runoff down the roads. And it just means getting out of their truck and using a shovel, because when they grade the road, the blade scrapes the soil and they leave a little pile at the end of the blade. And that pile acts like a curb. So the water can't get off the road into the designated swale where it's supposed to go. And then it ends up eroding the road instead. And if they got out every so many feet and just used a shovel to direct the water off the road into the swale, a lot of problems would be remedied. A lot of places, it's, you know, the roads were built before any rack and pinion steering, and the roads go straight up and down hills. That's a problem, and there's no place for the water to go. But there are places they could do a better job.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
we've reviewed, I remember reviewing Center Cemetery, so yeah, we've talked about that. So great project.
Oh, yeah, I'd be interested to see what you guys do on that. No.
I bet you would,
What's
Ray.
Oh, you should have heard the
Sorry,
whole thing,
Ray.
10 minutes long.
Okay, Jordan,
Good.
Crystal,
Nothing.
Jean,
Well, I remember October was the month that they're going to update the GIS maps in town. So I did get in touch with, his name's not gonna come to my head because I didn't write it down. The person who does open space mapping for West Green Valley, and I got his open space layer. And I sent it to the mapping people, so hopefully we'll get more updated information on open space, because that's really critical for planning open space, to know where existing open space is. And I also sent them the information about local farm soils, which is being soils that are designated as prime ag soils, statewide important ag soils, local farm soils has been changed. And we had no information about local farm soils available to us in Woodstock. I wanted to make sure that change happened. So I gave them the information, and hopefully they'll incorporate it into our GIS. So when the open space group or we are doing any kind of planning purposes, that information is available in the town GIS.
was that Kyle Stevens? Is that the one?
From the company that's managing the town GIS.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, is that the GI? No, that's the web soil survey. You had CC'd me.
Yeah. We had a lot of stuff going back and forth. So yeah, Kyle's probably the guy I was sending it to.
Okay.
And he said to send it to somebody else, and there was a lot of back and forth, but the information came to them, and hopefully it'll get incorporated into our town GIS.
Okay, thanks, Jean. Pam,
Nothing.
Jason,
Sorry, I was on mute. I did send an email to everybody, pretty last minute, a day or so ago, regarding survey questions. If anybody wants to just respond with any input back on email individually, that's probably the way to go, I would think, at this point.
Yeah, it's really interesting to listen to the Eversource representatives talk about how they're finished with this, that, and the other thing. And I'm driving down the road, and I'm like, maybe, but I don't drive on Child Road. And it's a huge surprise to me that Brickyard Road got added, and they didn't bother to mention that to us.
And there has been some chatter that I've seen from people about logs not getting picked up. So I'm not surprised for one person to say that they haven't heard of it, but I would be extremely surprised if someone said that Eversource hasn't.
yeah, I'll make Bill Rathbone aware. Grace, anything?
Well, I went to a conference in Massachusetts, and it's a town called Ashland, and they have a town forest. It was very interesting because they had more support than any other town entity that I've seen. And it was very, very nice. People were very happy with it. And as I said, it was a town forest, they call it. I would equate it to like Central Park in New York. It had a lot of support from the town. and from the state. Things are done a little bit differently in Massachusetts, and people have a lot more input, but it was very, very, I enjoyed it very much. But anyway, just the differences in Massachusetts and Connecticut, where, we fight desperately to get help from anybody with anything. And as I say, over there, there were probably 150 people at this conference that went on the tour of this town forest.
Grace, how many acres how much of the town do you think was forested? This particular forest is so valued.
What was cordoned off as the town forest was 47 acres. And people have donated, surrounding properties actually have donated. So now it's grown. I think it's up to about 54 acres or something. And it's managed and as I say, they had the Girl Scouts helping out, the Boy Scouts, town managers. It was just very, very refreshing and depressing at the same time that they have so much help and people interested in it. It's just, as I say, how they manage it. I was very jealous.
I think one of the things that has happened to Ashland in general is it's gotten very populated. It's used to live near there, and they had like this massive population spurt, a lot of big houses and things going in. So a lot of their forested area and their natural preserved area was cut down and turned into residence. So that's probably one of the like holdout spaces, and they're probably trying to hang on to it for dear life.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. As I say, when I went to it, I passed, I guess, 3 different condo areas, which it just, as I said, the fact that they had so much support for this forest area, I thought was really cool.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
outside
one of the
Framingham,
things.
Huh?
That's right outside of Framingham. Like that's a super
Yes.
built up area.
Yes.
I have
Yeah.
no idea.
Yes,
I
it
put the
is.
address
And
in
one
my
of the-
GPS.
No, that's absolutely correct. And one of the things that ends up happening is people don't always realize what a valuable resource these natural locations, forests, et cetera, are until they're nearly gone.
Oh,
So
yes.
this is one of the things that happened in Ashland.
But
Okay.
it was a nice way to spend Saturday.
Nice. Any of our public have anything to bring forth to our august body? Okay. Anything?
Can you
Ray?
hear me now?
Gotcha, Ray. What's up?
Oh, okay. Hey, I just want to say thanks. You guys did a good meeting tonight, and I know I was listening to Eversource, and I'm, as a public, read between the lines. Eversource is definitely not going to volunteer and give you a tree. So
Yeah.
is anybody going to talk after the meeting? Is there anybody that can talk to the tree warden just to get
Yeah.
on board? Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna send them an email
Awesome.
to expect them to
Yeah,
call.
and then it's also the tree warden. I see where the tree warden takes care of the right of way. It'll also be the DOT, because it'll be the roadside, to get the DOT on board about, the trees and back to what we all want for the aesthetics and the coverage. That, because Eversource is not going to volunteer something, so we definitely have to be out there to explain to them. Somebody has to tell them we need it back. And it has to be the homeowner, the tree warden, or the DOT. Other than that,
Yes.
we're just going to sit back and watch it stripped.
One of the things he mentioned is that they are not letting the homeowners know when the project is complete. So for all anyone knows, the project could still be very much underway. They will have no way to know that the work is done.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
other than that, thank you. I appreciate it. You guys did a lot of coverage tonight.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Ray, you asked me for the watershed map for Core Road. You said you were gonna
Yes,
ask.
yes, because there is a piece of property came up for sale on Quarry Road, about 100 acres, and the property does sit in the watershed.
If
zone.
it's an A watershed, does anybody mind if I take a few minutes to answer his question while he's on the Zoom call?
What?
But well, can you wait till the meeting's done and then just hang in?
Is that
Yeah.
all right
Oh,
with you,
that'd be-
Crystal?
Yeah, she could just stop recording and,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah, I'm just gonna show him a map. That's all.
okay. Okay,
Okay, thank you, thank you.
and
Okay.
anything else for the good of the order? And
No.
is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn until I see you all on Saturday.
Okay, and Jordan seconds, so 8:14, meeting's adjourned. Okay, I think
Thank
we
you.
had a good meeting. So thanks, everybody, and
Thank you.
Thank you.
see you guys next
Okay.
month.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Ray, can you see this